Have you ever wondered why your prayers seem unanswered? Why everything you hoped for feels delayed, distant, or lost? Maybe it's not a punishment. Maybe it's preparation. Because sometimes God hides his greatest blessings inside the silence, and the path that looks like pain is actually leading you toward purpose. You might not see it now, but heaven's timing is never off. So don't give up when life gets heavy, because what feels like an ending might just be the beginning of a divine story. Remember this truth: God's plan is always bigger than your problems. There are seasons in life when the air feels heavy, when your soul aches for answers, and silence becomes louder than words. You wake up wondering why things aren't changing, why prayers seem to vanish into the air, and why life feels like an endless test. But hidden within those long, quiet nights is a mysterious truth. God is not punishing you. He is preparing you. The weight you feel is the resistance that builds strength, the process that forges faith out of fragility. When everything feels uncertain, remember that silence is never proof of absence. God's quietness is often a sign that something sacred is being arranged beyond what you can see. It's in the stillness, not in the noise, that destiny begins to move. Every unanswered prayer, every delay, every disappointment becomes a brushstroke on the canvas of a divine plan, far greater than the one you imagined. The world tells you to hurry, to push, to make things happen by your own force. But God's timing is not bound by human calendars. What you perceive as delay, He calls design. When you walk with Him, even detours are sacred. Every step you take in faith, even when the path is invisible, brings you closer to the destiny that was written for you before time began. So, breathe. Let go of the fear that you've been forgotten. God sees the tears you hide, the prayers you whisper, and the strength you've used just to keep standing. The author of life hasn't stopped writing your story. You are still in the middle of a chapter, not the end. Surrender doesn't mean defeat, it means trust. It's not about giving up on your dreams, it's about giving them to God. Many people live exhausted because they try to carry the weight of control, forcing outcomes that were never theirs to manage. But when you finally open your hands and say, "God, I trust you with this," heaven begins to move. Letting go feels terrifying, especially when you've been holding everything together for so long. Yet true peace isn't found in control. It's found in surrender. The more you resist, the tighter the chains of anxiety become. But when you surrender, your soul exhales. You discover a quiet freedom in knowing that you don't have to know everything because God already does. Faith is not about understanding every detail of the journey. It's about trusting that even the broken roads lead somewhere holy. God cannot pour new blessings into closed fists. Only when you release what you've been clinging to, the fear, the pain, the need for answers, can you receive what He's been saving for you. So when you don't understand the why, choose to trust the who. Say to God, "I don't get it, but I trust you anyway." That's not weakness, that's spiritual strength, and that kind of faith moves mountains. When nothing seems to make sense, remember this: God does His best work in the unseen. The moments that feel empty are often filled with invisible movement. Just because you can't see progress doesn't mean it's not happening. The seed buried underground looks dead, but life is unfolding where the eyes cannot reach. Maybe you feel buried right now, buried under pressure, under disappointment, under unanswered prayers, but you are not buried to die. You are planted to grow. God often hides you before He reveals you. He uses isolation to refine your identity, to strengthen your spirit, and to prepare you for blessings that require deeper roots. The greatest transformations happen in silence. Think of how a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. It's an invisible miracle wrapped in stillness. Your process might not look glorious right now, but God is orchestrating something profound within it. So don't curse the hidden seasons. Embrace them. Because when the time is right, what was once buried will bloom in a way that leaves no doubt it was God all along. Storms are not punishments. They are classrooms. Every wave that crashes against your life is carrying a lesson in its tide. When God allows a storm, it's never to destroy you, but to develop you. Some lessons can only be learned when the rain falls and the winds roar. In the middle of chaos, your true strength is revealed. You discover what your faith is made of when everything else is stripped away. The storm doesn't weaken your faith, it purifies it. You begin to realize that peace is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of God in the middle of it. When Peter walked on water, he did it in the middle of a storm. That's what faith looks like, not waiting for the storm to pass, but walking through it with your eyes fixed on Jesus. Fear may whisper, "You'll sink," but faith replies, "God's hand is already reaching for me." And when the clouds finally break, you'll see what the storm was protecting you from. Because some storms are not meant to harm you, they're meant to clear the path ahead. Waiting can feel like walking through a fog that never lifts. You pray, you plan, you push forward, but nothing seems to move. It's in those silent seasons that God is doing His most careful work. His hands are rearranging things you can't see, preparing opportunities, connections, and breakthroughs that will appear suddenly, but only after the right moment arrives. The delay is not a denial, it's divine precision. You see, we often want the blessing before we are ready to carry it. A child can't drive a car, not because the car isn't good, but because the child isn't mature enough to handle it. In the same way, God withholds some things out of love, not neglect. He's not punishing you. He's protecting you from premature success that could destroy what He intends to bless. Every waiting period refines your heart. It strips away pride, teaches patience, and reveals what truly matters. You learn to lean on faith instead of control, to listen instead of rush, to rest instead of panic. In this process, you're not losing time. You're growing roots, strong roots that will sustain you when the fruit finally appears. So when the days feel long and your heart grows weary, remember this truth. God's promises do not expire. His timeline might stretch your faith, but it will never betray it. What He started, He will finish. And when He moves, it will happen faster and more beautifully than you ever imagined. Pain is one of the deepest mysteries of life. It shakes your certainty, questions your strength, and forces you to face what you've avoided. Yet, within pain lies the seed of transformation. Every person God used powerfully first walked through fire. Pain is not random, it's a tool that shapes you into the person your purpose requires you to become. When you suffer, you start to see the world differently. The things that once mattered fade away, and what's eternal becomes clear. Pain humbles you, softens your heart, and opens your eyes to the suffering of others. It teaches compassion, not from theory, but from experience. You learn to see through tears, to love without conditions, to forgive even when it hurts. God doesn't cause every pain, but He never wastes one. The betrayal that broke you will become the wisdom that guides you. The heartbreak that crushed you will become the compassion that heals others. Every scar becomes a testimony, proof that even in the darkest valley, God was with you. So if you're hurting right now, don't curse the season. Sit with it. Ask God, what are you showing me through this? Because sometimes the pain isn't punishment, it's positioning. He's moving you closer to your destiny, one broken piece at a time. And when the healing comes, you'll understand that pain wasn't the end of your story. It was the chapter that made your story worth telling. Faith doesn't always roar like a lion. Sometimes it trembles like a whisper. There are days when you don't feel strong, when prayer feels empty, when hope feels far away. And yet, even then, faith remains alive because it's not based on feeling, but on trust. God never demanded perfection. He asked for persistence. Even when your faith is tired, He honors your effort. The Bible says that a mustard seed of faith can move mountains, and that's not a poetic exaggeration. It's a spiritual reality. God can do the impossible with the smallest yes from your heart. There will be moments when you doubt, cry, and question everything. But don't be ashamed of your weakness. That's where grace meets you. When you say, "Lord, I can't do this alone," heaven leans in closer. Weak faith in a strong God is stronger than great faith in yourself. So don't measure your belief by how confident you feel. Measure it by how much you keep showing up. Keep praying, keep walking, keep trusting, even when it doesn't make sense. Faith isn't about never falling. It's about never staying down. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that even when you thought your faith was gone, it was actually carrying you all along. Because faith, no matter how fragile, always finds its way back to the one who gave it. Have you ever wondered why the deepest pain produces the most powerful testimonies? Because pain purifies the heart. It burns away pride, self-reliance, and illusion. It reveals what truly matters: love, compassion, and faith that endures beyond emotion. When you go through suffering and come out still believing, your faith becomes a weapon. Your scars become symbols of strength. God allows some pains not to punish you, but to promote you. He knows that certain blessings can only be born through brokenness. The cross had to come before the resurrection. Darkness had to come before dawn. The same is true in your life. Before God elevates you, He allows the shaking to prepare you. Every tear you've cried has been noticed. Not one drop is wasted. Heaven collects your pain like treasure because it carries meaning beyond what you understand now. The very thing that made you question your purpose might one day become the reason others find theirs. So don't hide your scars. They are your credentials. When people see what you've survived, they'll believe that hope is real. Your story might be someone else's survival guide. You may not see it yet, but through your struggle, God is writing a message of redemption that will echo far beyond your lifetime. You were not born to live in pain, but to transform it, to turn it into power, compassion, and testimony. That's the divine exchange: ashes for beauty, sorrow for strength, wounds for wisdom. Faith is trusting the hand of God even when you can't see His face. It's walking in the dark, believing there's light ahead. We often crave clarity, but God offers something deeper: confidence. Not confidence in the plan, but confidence in the planner. You see, if God revealed the entire journey, you might try to skip the hard parts. But those hard parts are where He molds your character. He hides certain things not to confuse you, but to build trust. When you can't see the next step, He's teaching you to walk by faith and not by sight. Every closed door, every redirection, every silence is loaded with purpose. God's no is often protection. The friendship that ended, the job that slipped away, the prayer that wasn't answered, all of it carries divine reasoning that only time can reveal. One day, you'll thank Him for the doors He closed just as much as the ones He opened. Faith is not about knowing where you're going, it's about knowing who goes with you.
So when the path is unclear, keep your eyes on the guide, not the ground. Keep walking, keep trusting, because each step in faith unlocks something unseen. And when the fog lifts, you'll realize God never left. He was walking beside you the entire time, guiding your steps, holding your heart, and leading you exactly where you were meant to be. At the end of it all, you'll see that nothing was wasted. The pain, the waiting, the silence, the confusion, all of it was part of a masterpiece too great for you to see in the moment. God's plan was never small. It was simply beyond your understanding. The setbacks you thought would destroy you actually developed you. The heartbreaks you thought would end you prepared your heart for love that lasts. Every detour brought you closer to destiny. Every tear watered your growth. God was building something eternal, even when you could only see fragments. We often think God's plan is about blessing us, but it's also about transforming us. His goal isn't just to change your circumstances, but to change you through them. He's not writing a story of comfort. He's writing a story of purpose, redemption, and grace. So when life feels unfair, remember that heaven's perspective is higher than yours. What seems like an ending is often the start of a divine beginning. The road you feared was actually the route that led you home. You were never forgotten, never forsaken. You were always a part of a greater design, one that stretches beyond this moment into eternity. His plan is not just bigger than your problems. It's bigger than your dreams, bigger than your fears, and stronger than anything standing against you. When you finally see the full picture, you'll whisper through tears of joy, "Now I understand."